Welcome to the Wildcast podcast, coming to you from Wildcast Studios with your hosts Adam Lund and Jeremy Boucher.
Welcome back and welcome into the studio for a playoff episode of the Wildcast podcast, your unofficial voice of all things Moncton Wildcats. I am your host Adam, and as you can see, I'm flying solo. No Jeremy Boucher. He's not feeling great. It is not COVID related. He's not feeling great, so we're going to kick it back old school when I used to do this alone, by myself. So we're going to see how this goes. Thanks for everyone joining me on the YouTube. Thanks for downloading the show. So I guess we'll just kick it off as, it's been a trying week, and let's get going. Hell's Kitchen, it's over. Season 19 winner, Corey. Jeremy had said from the beginning, he predicted her to win. Not only could she cook, but you could just see it over time that she was very much the mother. She was to the rest of the crew. She had, mature. She could lead. Not only could she cook, she could lead. So for her, Jeremy pretty much predicted that she was going to win this thing. And, he was right from day one. Myself, I wanted Declan, but, as it came closer to the end, you could just see that Corey was going to win this thing. Mary Lou, she did everything she could. She got, oh so close. I don't doubt that she'll be doing great things, and I'm sure within Gordon Ramsay's, tutelage, she will be there. So, good on her. Good on Jeremy for picking the winner. Hell's Kitchen Season 20. It's called Young Guns. From what I've read, no one over the age of 23. So it'll be interesting to see if it's going to be the normal Gordon Ramsay that gets angry all the time at the littlest things, to these young chefs that are aspiring to be great. So usually this is the part of the show where Mr. Boucher gets into his Big Brother rant. Unfortunately, I don't watch it. So we've got I got nothing for you. We'll be back next week with Jeremy's Big Brother chat. Masked Singer, we're almost getting through a full season of not only Hell's Kitchen, but the Masked Singer. And I don't think that's ever happened in the history of this show. We're into the final 8. Of course, there was a double elimination last week. Crab and Seashell were unmasked. Crab being Bobby Brown, Seashell being Tamara Mowry, sorry. She was part of Tia and Tamara. They were twins early in the 90s. I think they had a couple shows on Disney Channel. Still, we don't know the rest of them. Jeremy and I, we kind of both believe that the Russian dolls were someone different. He was leaning towards Hanson. I was leaning towards 98 Degrees, just because of that fourth member. Well, I'm kind of leaning away and into the Hanson a little bit with him. And the only reason I'm going that way is because I actually think Piglet is Nick Lachey from 98 Degrees. It's very much got a boy band vibe. I don't think it's any of the Backstreet Boys. As I, being the resident Backstreet Boys fan, I know all their voices. I don't think it's any of them. I don't believe it's an NSYNC guy. So Nick Lachey makes a lot of sense. Early on I thought The Bachelor Clues, well, he did the show Love is Blind with his wife. So I still think 98 Degrees could be the Russian dolls, but I'm leaning towards more Jeremy's pick of Hanson and Piglet being Nick Lachey. Black Swan, one of the judges guessed JoJo. Sure. These are so hard. Yeti, I'm still kind of think Bieber vibes, but I don't know. They're coming to the point where, the clues are getting a little bit different. So I'm still pulling out for Bieber, hoping for him, but that would be such a massive star. I don't know. Chameleon, I got no idea. Layla had said Mos Def, so I guess we'll go with that. But we're into the final 6 now, so that'll be on tonight. And Jeremy will be back next week with our Masked Singer predictions and, his Big Brother Canada. As always, you can follow us on Twitter, Moncton Wildcast, Instagram Wildcast Podcast, and now TikTok. Yeah, we're on TikTok. As well as don't forget to like and subscribe right here on YouTube. I guess quick question. It's not so much quick question because I'm not going to ask myself a question. I'm going to ask you a question. So I found an article on the Dub Network, and if you've listened to our former co-host Chris Dobson talk about the Memorial Cup format, and either on this show or on his Sports Quarantine TV, he would love a March Madness style 64 team. Everybody gets in, one game knockout. But that's obviously a little bit difficult to do. So we had our second straight cancellation of the Memorial Cup, and I was going through the old Twitter sphere and found an article on the Dub Network by Kevin Oliniak, and he proposed a kind of a new format for the Memorial Cup. In his article, and you can find it on dubnetwork.ca. He kind of talked about how the home team usually gets knocked out early, and other than opening weekend or closing weekend, the kind of luster's lost on the Memorial Cup. And so what he proposed was a 32-team single-game knockout. So it sounds cool. So I'll break down how he's had it. So you still got the regular season champion. So whoever wins the WHL, the QMJHL, and the OHL, they get in as the number one seed in each bracket. And then the CHL rankings that we have and we mock continuously give the number 4 ranked team in that bracket, no matter what league it's from, the other number 1 seed. So at least with that, you're playing for something. Then you take the remaining 28 teams, you draw them into a bracket, giving you 32 teams. You split those 8 brackets into 4 junior hockey cities. 1 game knockout. When you get to the next, so everybody that moves on to the next round, the Sweet 16, you move those to another 4 cities across Canada. And then those 2 play. Then you get into what is the Final 4, and that's going to be played at the Memorial Cup host city. So, and then you got 2 games on Friday or Saturday, the final on Sunday or Monday. You can have two games Thursday, final Saturday. I like this idea from the point that, if TSN which is rumored to be on board and bring in the CHL, Sportsnet, they've done a great job with the Memorial Cup. You're always fighting against the Maple Leafs or the NHL playoffs. Not the Maple Leafs. They're never usually in the third round or second round. The Toronto Blue Jays, in spring and the NHL playoffs. TSN, you might get a little bit better coverage of. They do a great job with March Madness in terms of everything that they cover. And of course, Kevin talks about this in his article, but what I like about it, the World Juniors is such a corporate event, and it's never going to go back to Moncton. It's not going to go back to Shawinigan. It's not going to go back to Red Deer. It's not going to go back to Victoria, because it's just they can sell out Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Montreal, Toronto. They don't need to go back to these smaller rinks. So what I like about Kevin's idea in having 4 cities host is it's going to bring, and especially coming out of this pandemic, it's going to bring fans and teams and, in an influx of money into your junior hockey city. Then that's great. Your team, Moncton, maybe let's say the 13th seed one year, right? So they get in. Now they're going to play the number 4 seed in one of the brackets, which, could be, I don't know, Regina by the time Connor Bedard lights up the world. So now it's Regina, Moncton. You're never going to see that unless stars align and you get a Memorial Cup. But now those 2 teams could end up playing in Prince George. That's just, those teams and those cities. Now, that would suck for the 2 teams that don't get to go there, but those fans in that Prince George market, they get to see teams they don't usually get to see in a very intense 1-game market. So by that standard, I always like Chris's idea of all the teams, 1-game knockout. I think that'd be very cool. I don't know if this gets legs just because, there's too much after the season and more hockey. And once these teams are kind of knocked out of the playoffs, are you just practicing, waiting to find out where you're going? But I do like it in terms of the, you sell it to your season ticket holders as, hey, we're going to have this Memorial Cup this bracket, this round, and it can be corporatized. The Chevrolet Western bracket, whatever you're going to do. And then, just for, argument's sake, St. John and Quebec are the two teams that are reported to be vying for next year's Memorial Cup, which Mr. Courteau was on the 31 Thoughts podcast with Merrick and Friedman, and he said that, we're hoping that the Q, we're pretty sure the Q is getting the Memorial Cup. So now, if Quebec gets the Memorial Cup, well, St. John doesn't just lose out on something. They can host one of the second round brackets with two games that means something. Or when Halifax won the Memorial Cup, Moncton didn't get anything, but we might get to host one of the brackets. And if there's two teams, so your cities and your teams are putting bids to actually host qualifying games to eventually get to the Memorial Cup. I think it's kind of cool. So I put it out to you. What do you think? Do you think that this is a good idea? 32 team bracket. Each champion is the number one seed. The fourth seed in the CHL rankings becomes a number one seed. And then you've got brackets and teams playing one game knockouts all over the country. So let me know what you think on Twitter, Instagram, and I'll retweet this part. But for now, let's bring it back a little bit closer home. Let's get some news around the Q.
News and notes from around the Q.
All right, we've got some playoff action in the Q. Not just here, we've got some playoff action in the Q. Some series are going. What do we got right now? Earlier yesterday, I guess the Tuesday, Quebec beat Val-d'Or 4-3 in overtime. We've got some teams already moving on. That's how quickly this thing is going, especially with best of five. So Val-d'Or's up 2-0 on Baie-Comeau. By the time you listen to this, I got to believe they've swept them 3-0 because they play Tuesday night. And we've got Chicoutimi swept Sherbrooke 3-0. Victoriaville swept Rouyn-Noranda 3-0. Shawinigan is up 2-1 on Quebec. And Blainville and Gatineau are getting their series started today at 2 o'clock, or I guess Wednesday, depending when you listen to this. And like I said, Quebec beat Drummondville 4-3 in overtime to take a 1-0 series lead. We've got players of the month. First of all, it's just good to see Q playoff hockey. I know Gatineau and Blainville, Drummondville, Quebec, it took a while for them to get their series going, but it's good to see playoff hockey in the Q. It's all you see on Twitter if you're following it, and it's good to have. It took a while to get here, but it's just good to have playoff hockey, and no real surprises yet in the Quebec portion of it. So we'll have to see maybe once the second round series get going. But we had the QMJHL Players of the Month for April. Your forward of the month was Cedric Desrisseaux. I almost messed that up. Desrisseaux, Charlottetown, 8 games played, 7 goals, 9 assists, 16 points. What more can the guy do? Leading Q scorer. He had a hell of a year. And say what you want about the opponents, you only play who's in front of you. And what a year that Said Money, as they call him on the island, has had. Honorable mention was Matthew Degagne, 10 games, 8 goals, 11 assists for 19 points. Defenseman of the month, Adam McCormick from Bathurst. 10 games, 3 goals, 10 assists, 13 points. Honorable mention, Luca Cormier. For the Islanders, 8 games, 2 goals, 9 assists, 11 points. Rookie of the month, Peter Reynolds, St. John. He's just been getting better and better. And 10 games, and the 6 goals, 6 assists, 12 points. Honorable mention, our guy, Vincent Filion from Moncton. 2-1 in the month, 2.67 goals against average, and a .909 save percentage. The little right up there, being a rookie goaltender in a rebuilding team in junior is a daunting task. Filion doesn't seem to mind too much. However, the goalie had back-to-back victories for the first time in his career on April 11th and 7th against St. John. The guy he's playing great. And, what more can we say? We wanted him to start a bit more. He was honorable mention for Rookie of the Month. You could just see him getting more confident as it went on. Goaltender of the Month, Colton Ellis for the Islanders, 3-0 with a 1.62 goals against average and a .924 save percentage. And the honorable mention to Jan Bednar from the Titan, 4-1, 3 goals against average, and a 907. Took him a while to get going, but he's one of the keys for the tandem up in Bathurst, as both goalies are kind of getting action as we get into this playoff round robin, which means, why don't we talk about this playoff round robin?
Weekly Rewind.
Playoffs are in full swing. If you have Rogers TV, you've seen both road games. If you got tickets last Wednesday, you were there. I mean, the Wildcats, they're 1-2. They got 2 points in this thing. Bathurst is 2-1. St. John is 2-2. I said it off the hop on our recap, our live post-game show. I mean, you're telling me there's a chance. And that's all Moncton needed. We just needed one win. We got that one win last Wednesday against Bathurst. But before we get there, we'll go all the way back to game 1 in St. John. This was just sometimes St. John puts it together. And for the fan base, they're a frustrating team to watch. This was a game that they flipped the switch, and 2 quick goals in the second period. It really turned the tide. They got a 6-2 victory over Moncton in game 1. Outshot them 33-24, but Moncton was right in it, and it was 2-2 with in the first 5 minutes in the second period. But 2 quick goals by Burns, Leighton Carruthers, back to back, and it was just, we've talked about it many times on this show. You talk about the deflating goals. And that was the deflating goals for Moncton. They just never really recovered, and it never seemed like they, sometimes they get down and you feel like we've got a shot at this. We just got to come out, and blah, 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 pucks in deep, 4 lines roll. And it just never felt like Moncton had that opportunity in that game after those 2 goals. Nothing against Filion, who did get the first start, absolutely earned the first start. He's honorable mention rookie of the month. And, there was nothing that he did wrong in this game. You can't put any of this on him. It was just, this was a game that, got away from Moncton a little bit in the second period. And that was all she wrote. Got pretty physical near the end. Jacob Hudson was given the fighting as well as an aggressor, which, came with a 1-game suspension. So he was going to miss game 2. And, going into game 2 against Bathurst, it was already going to be a very tough road to hoe. I mean, they're just struggling against Bathurst. Like the last few games, it's been 5-2, 6-2. Like, St. John, you could kind of see we were in these games. They were flip flopping. They were excited. 1 goal, 2 goal. Early on against Bathurst, it was like that. But just lately, nothing's been going right against Bathurst, like at all. And this was another game that, Moncton scored the first goal. They were out shooting them 12-9 in the first period. And it was just, Moncton kind of looked like, okay, this might be one that DLC is going to steal for us. We need this one to get back even. You don't want to go down 0-2. And of course, this is a different playoff series, so you're not going to have the usual, down 0-1 in a playoff series against the same team. You can make adjustments, keep going. No, this is a different team, but you don't want to get down 0-2 in a very short playoff round robin. Unfortunately, Moncton did. And why that happened? Well, we've said it many times. Moncton has to stay disciplined to have a chance. If Moncton gets into penalty trouble, and it was one of the last game against Bathurst, but the previous 2, I had tweeted out during the game, like, you cannot keep taking penalties against Bathurst and survive. And, Bannon MacArthur gets the goal 10 minutes into the second period on the power play, and that just energized that crowd and energized that team, and you could just see that steamrolling and rolling and rolling. Bathurst outshot them 13-8 in the second and exploded. Well, they exploded for 5 straight goals after that power play goal. And, they had 2 power play goals. They were 2 for 4. This is a team that, without Jacob Hudson and being very young, they're going to need to play 5-on-5 a lot and be on the puck and disciplined and can't be chasing the game and can't get down on the penalty, and that came back to haunt him, and it's kind of been a theme in this postseason is when Moncton's able to stay 5-on-5 and not be hemmed in their zone on a power play, they have a chance. And if they can get power plays and they can get zone time, they have a chance. And the first two games, I mean, Moncton was what were we here? 1 for 7 on the power play. 1 for 7. Bathurst and St. John were 3 for 7 combined. So the playoffs is tight checking and special teams. And Moncton is losing the special teams battle so far in these playoffs, especially in the first two games. They won the playoff battle at home, and we'll get into that one. So 4-2 Moncton on, what was it, Wednesday, April 24th? Saturday. Like I said, what a week it's been. Saturday, a 4-2 victory over St. John. And this was, Jacob Hudson was back in the lineup, but we were down another forward in Francis Langlois. And, Jacob Hudson coming back. I mean, he was everything you needed. And he was so good, just, I guess rested, first of all. But he gave the team that energy that's, we're going to win this hockey game. And I don't know about you guys, but you just kind of felt like this might be, this was a must win. But you kind of felt like this might be Moncton's game because, St. John had lost to Bathurst the night before, I do believe. St. John, 6-2. Yeah, St. John had lost to Bathurst the night before. So they were already 1-1. We were 0-2. We needed this one to get back into it and, to kind of tighten things up a little bit with St. John. Moncton ended up doing that, both 1-2 going into the Sunday night game, which St. John ended up giving Bathurst their first loss, putting St. John at 2-2, Bathurst at 2-1. But again, special teams. Moncton held St. John to 0-2 on their power plays, and we went 1 for 1. We were able to connect on that. It just felt like DLC needed to play his A+ games in the playoffs. A B or a B+ or whatever was not going to be good enough. And he knows it. The team rallies it. They know it. He's going to need to be on. You have to have a goaltender that sometimes steals a hockey game. And I think this one was one that he stole. He let in the first goal to Riley Bezo on, the puck was on end and it kind of went through his arm. You knew he was frustrated. He wanted that one back. He should have had that one. But he didn't quit. And he battled. He kept this team in this hockey game. And this team rallied around Jacob Hudson coming back. It was Hudson, Barbashev, and I believe Richard. The first game, it was Hudson. Second game, one of them. Kluche was on the line with, Kluche, Barbashev, and Langlois. That line just didn't work. Langlois and Barbashev, they have a connection. You take Jacob Hudson off that line, it's awfully tough to replace him given anything. But some players can make things work. I didn't think that Matthias Kluche just made it work on that line. He's good with other guys, but he wasn't the best mix, I guess. And then you had Barbashev. Take Langlois off, who bit of an awkward play at the end of the Bathurst game. Riley Kidney just hit him. Nothing malicious. He just kind of twisted, ran into the boards, upper body injury. Who knows how long he'll be out for. And so you knew he wasn't playing the next one, the next night in Moncton. And Barbashev, Richard, and Hudson, I thought was a very good line. And I got no issues with that one. I mean, Richard scored a goal. So I can, if Langlois out for a little while, which is basically this next week, the 3 games we have, I think we'll see Barbashev, Kluche, and Richard. I'll get to why that might be a little bit different here in a minute, but yeah, DLC needed to eventually steal a game for us in the playoffs. He let that early one in. He wasn't happy with it. You're thinking, oh no, first goal on 2 shots. And he hunkered down and basically, he didn't steal it with, 40 some saves or anything like that, but he stole it with the fact that Moncton was able to tie the game. And then Moncton had that 2-1 lead, 3-1 lead. And he kept making saves so that St. John never really got close. Now, the play of the game was the Ryan Francis. Too many Rileys, too many Ryans. Ryan Francis on the breakaway with about 2 minutes left in the second period. Yeah, that was a good move. Looked like it went in. They went up to video review. It was on the opposite side of where I was sitting, so I thought maybe it was close to the line. And then DLC kind of grabbed it, pulled it in. Not so much. Chris, who was working the game for Rogers TV, was able to send a video of which I think people saw on the TV anyways, but they didn't show that view inside the Avenir Center. Francis went down, went backhand. He kind of fell. The puck was stopped by DLC, but his momentum was taking him in the net. The puck hadn't gone over the line, and Francis made a kicking motion with his left foot to put the puck in the net. Obviously, as we all know, that's not allowed. I'm sure we tweeted out his reaction. I know Denis tweeted out his reaction. He wasn't the happiest, but, he sold it. And that's what you're supposed to do. Did he ever sell it? And like I said to Layla, I mean, the call on the ice was no goal, so it had to be conclusive evidence that puck crossed the line. Because at that point, I didn't know he kicked it. Had to be conclusive evidence that puck was across the line to change his mind. Obviously, they saw things a little bit differently than what we saw from inside the rink. It was kicked in. That was huge. If I'm being honest, I don't know if Moncton wins that game if that Ryan Francis goal wasn't portrayed as kicked in, but just directed in off his skate. Like, remember, you can turn your skate to direct the puck in. You just physically can't kick it in. It looked like he kicked it in. But, Moncton's up 2-1, or 3-1, sorry. Francis scores that goal with 2 minutes left in the second period. Again, that's a late second period goal. Now are we in trouble going into the third with St. John having a full 20 minutes to come back and come back 1. Not come back down by 2. Come back down by 1. If I'm being honest, I don't know if Moncton wins the hockey game up 3-2, just giving a breakaway goal to Francis with 2 minutes left in the second period. I'd like to think they would be able to hold on to it, but thankfully we don't have to find out. And so, St. John got to 3-2. That's as close as they got. Jacob Hudson again sealing this thing with the empty netter. That was probably the best second period I've seen this team play in a long time. And, I talked about it on the Instagram post-game show, where you guys can join me on Instagram, on our Instagram live, half hour after the puck drop, after the final whistle. This team's second periods have just plagued them all year, and I don't know what it is. It's, game 1, 3, they're up. They tied 1-1 after 2, and 3 goals for St. John. Now it's 4-2 going into the third. That's a tough hill to climb. Up 1-0 in Bathurst. They give up that power play goal early. 2 goals against. Now they're down 2-1 going into the third period. I mean, it's been that way all year. I've kind of joked about it. Can we deny the long change? Because it seems to be that first intermission teams kind of get their bearings. Something about that long intermission, but the second period, yeah, we got outshot 9-7, but Moncton, that was probably their best second period they've ever played. And they played in I want to say the restart. Since the restart, or at least since these last few games in April, probably since the restart, this team has not had a great second period. And if you remember last year, I mean, they were a great second period team. But this year, it's first and third periods. The second period has been the Achilles heel of this team. They played a great second period, got 2 goals, which was able to propel them to a victory and getting right back into this thing, which means we're now, here we go. I mean, there's 4 games left. It starts tonight there's 3 games left. Starts tonight against Bathurst. No Melanson for them. If I'm, you know what? I think we're going to have a return tonight. I don't know who. I just have this feeling there will be a player that will come back into the lineup. I have no information on this. I just feel like player A has been out long enough, and it was a certain length of injury, and I feel like we're getting close to a player returning, which will pay off huge dividends for this club going forward. Because look, we get this W tonight, we are 2-2 with 2 games left, and if you ask Richie, if you ask Dan, hey, given all the circumstances, we're gonna have a 9-game round robin, blah 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 blah. After 4 games, you're gonna be 2-2, tied with St. John and Bathurst, 2-2. You basically control your own destiny. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't take that at this point. We got back-to-back games against Bathurst. Wednesday here, Saturday in Bathurst. I mean, this is it. It starts with tonight, and it starts with playing very, very disciplined hockey. And I think the player that we're going to get back is going to be a huge boost, not only to the top 6, the power play. Again, I just have this feeling we're going to get a player back off the injured reserve that we've been waiting for. So it's, Moncton's had their struggles with Bathurst, and, what are we at here? 5-3 win for Bathurst, 5-1 win for Bathurst. So it's been a very tough road, 5-2 the last playoff game. So Moncton's basically been giving up 5 goals a game. So step 1, don't let them score 5. That's the key, number 1. Moncton can play with Bathurst. They just need to play discipline. So that's the other key. Don't allow this team to get on the power play. You talk about special teams in this thing. Moncton's power play record right now, we're perfect at home, 1 for 1. On the road, 2-7. So that gives us a 3 of 8. No, 2 goals on 8 advantages. So 25% clip. Bathurst is at a 30% clip. So you can't keep trolling them out. They were 2 for 4 against us in game 2. Now, penalty kill wise, Moncton and Bathurst are tied at 66.7%. At home, Moncton is, we have not given up a power play goal yet. And then on the road is obviously 3 goals against on 7 opportunities. So 57%. So not the greatest clip. Moncton or Bathurst is at 58. So, I mean, if you can stay disciplined and not allow this team in Bathurst to get power plays and advantages, we have a shot. And, it's, and then you get this, you get tied. Everyone's tied at 2-2. And then you're looking at a showdown. And, Bathurst is 1-1 against St. John. It's going to be funny. We're going to get through 6 games, and everyone could be tied 3-3. I thought Bathurst would be 3-0, rolling over because they're the healthiest team. But, all of a sudden, Moncton gets 1 win. Now they've got confidence. They got that win at home in front of 2,200 fans. You got to be there tonight because, it was pretty loud in that building, actually. And now I don't know if it was loud because it was loud the section I was in. The people around me were pretty loud, but it was loud enough. And I think the team fed off that. So we need to keep that going. Like I said, I think we're going to get a return tonight. I think he's going to be an impact not only tonight, but moving forward, and just, Moncton's just staying afloat just enough. And like I said, if you ask Richie, you ask Dan, you could be 2-2 after 4 games with 2 games left where you control your own destiny. They're going to take that. And all this is just playoff experience for next year. And, that's just what a young team needs, because nobody thought this team was making the playoffs. I mean, Okay. People thought this team might make the playoffs even when there was, not going to be a full everyone makes the playoffs kind of thing. But in a normal year, if we were playing everybody, I mean, this team would be very tough to make playoffs. And, again, very tough to even get out of the first round. But this team with this roster has continued to fight. And I think Neil's article, 14 to 18 rookies, I mean, we can't say it enough. I mean, the fact that you've lost Loshing, LaBelle, Daou, McKinney, Hudson for a game, now Langlois for a game, and the team, and even if you want to go back, Fortier you dealt, Spence you dealt, Sean Stewart you dealt, and every guy that's come in this lineup, whether it be Thomas Darcy, whether it be Nathan Casey, whether it be Iasenzo, who's been playing most of the year, Matulo, Tristan Sanchez, they're just Mueller. They come in, they buy in, and they play aggressive. And that's the thing is we're not missing a step. Eventually skill is going to take over, and we get that. And, it's been a theme of this show from day one. Go out, and if you get beat 9-2, at least you're competing. But since this restart, how many 9-2 losses have we seen? One. The very first game was 7-2. That was the first game in 116 days. Scratch that off. Doesn't count. They lost 9-2, I think, to St. John. They come back. They won the pink and the rink. They lost 7-2, and I think they lost 7-1. Like, they've only had 2 or 3 games where they've been beat, but they come back and they compete, and that's all we're asking for. And it just speaks to the coaching staff, especially headman Dan Lacroix, Josh Heptich, Salvis. I mean, they have brought these kids in as they're getting called up in their first action, especially in meaningful. Now, you can say what you will about only playing the 2 teams, but for these kids, these games that were kind of determining what was going on is meaningful in the regular season, and now playoffs that actually mean something. The fact that these kids are competing and nothing's really missing a beat. I mean, it's hard to argue Dan not being coach of the year, but there's other coaches in other markets that are having quite successful seasons. But in terms of the Maritimes, I mean, that's a pretty good coach to continue to have these players playing at a level where they're not missing a beat, whether they're playing their first game from, the Flyers on a Tuesday, they come play with Moncton on a Wednesday, and they don't even look like they miss a beat. That's pretty good. That's pretty awesome coaching, and pretty awesome, these kids that are just able to continue to buy into the system, buy into the Wildcat way, and it's fun to watch. So if you don't have tickets for tonight, what are you doing? Go get your tickets. So no Jeremy Boucher, so I'm going to see if I can take the mantle and do him proud for everyone's favorite part of the show.
Eric Murray Realty. Buy a house from him.
Stick tap of the week.
All right. This one hits close to home. This stick tap goes to the wife, Layla Wallace Michaels, whatever she wants to be called. Obviously, everyone knows what's happened with us. So starting Sunday, May 2nd, Big Hearts, Little Stars will be launching their first ever Comfort Box campaign. This campaign is partnered with the Friends of the Moncton Hospital Foundation and is raising money towards providing 100 comfort boxes to the Moncton Hospital for families who experience the loss of a child. We understand. We know this first half. Everyone who's listening, who's been a part of this show, knows what we've been through with Riker. Leaving the hospital with a box of memories or a box of comfort items does not make up for the fact that these families are leaving their hospital without their precious child in their arms. However, our hope is to let you know that you're not alone. We've been there too. These comfort boxes offer support during the most difficult days. These items in each box have been specifically selected, and our Big Hearts Little Stars community is there for them when they need someone to understand their grief. We came home with, the hospital did a good job with a box of memories. Any clothes they ever wore, measuring tapes, blankets, any, the girls in the NICU were so good taking all the pictures. Every picture was captured so that we never kind of felt like he wasn't with us as a part of us. And sometimes when we're not having a great day, we just open that box and all his memories are there. So it's never gonna it's never gonna replace that void, but it does help give some comfort. And to be honest, there's nothing out there like this. There's nothing. And this is a topic that nobody really ever wants to talk about, and people are uncomfortable. And Layla's taken it upon herself to just open the door and let people know that, hey, you're not alone. This is a very exclusive club that nobody wants to be in. But once you're in not only the NICU club, but the grieving loss of a child club, the support system is huge. So that's kind of what she's achieving, is she's giving families, adding to these boxes by just some special items for anyone. The campaign kicks off this Sunday, May 2nd, which is bereaved Mother's Day, and runs until June 20th, which is Father's Day. This was done to bring awareness to both bereaved Mother's Day and bereaved Father's Day holidays that you likely don't know exist until you become, like I said, of this club that no one really wants to ever be a part of. To remember the parents who have experienced this type of loss and are still parents, if you cannot see at all, or their children. So you can find out more information on Big Hearts Little Stars page on Facebook, on their event page, and you can follow them on Instagram at Big Hearts Little Stars as well. So like I said, eventually, starting May 2nd, she's going to open up the website. You can donate whatever you want, whether it be $2, $200. She's just raising money. The campaign for the month. If you can, it would be great to donate. If you can't, obviously, it's a difficult time. Her and myself, we understand. But so the stick tap of the week goes to Layla Michaels for starting Big Hearts Little Stars Comfort Box campaign.
The Stick Tap of the Week, sponsored by Eric Murray Real Estate with the RE/MAX Avante team. If you're looking to buy or sell a home in the Greater Moncton or surrounding area, make sure to check him out on social media or give him a call at 506-863-8802.
All right, Rosemary Lynn Massage Wildcast Wildcat of the Week. Rosemary Lynn Massage is now open. They're located at 1224 Mountain Road, Unit 6. They offer relaxing, therapeutic, deep tissue, mommy-to-be massages, as among others. You can now book your appointments. Just call Nicole, 830-1224. Book before May 1st. Get 15% off. You don't even need a code for that. You can literally just phone and you get it. That's pretty cool. As well, you can follow her on Facebook and Instagram. Her Instagram page is Rosemary_Lynn's_massage. The Wildcats went with Jacob Hudson for their player of the week. Streak of the week, Atlantic Hot Streak of the Week, I think it's called. And that, you absolutely could do that. I mean, he's got 5 points in 2 games. I went a little bit of a different direction. I went with a player that, Jeremy and I have talked about. He had a good first half playing in the role he was in. He got elevated to a top line role. He was one of my guys I was excited to see in the second half. Jeremy and I have talked about it. He logged a lot of minutes. He's gone up and down the lineup in a few games, playing, kind of down in the lineup. It seemed to recharge him a little bit. He's had 2 assists in the last 3 playoff games. But more importantly, he's just making the smart, simple plays. And that's all you want from a top-end defender, just especially a rookie top-end defender playing with DeJong. Just make a smart, simple play, get the puck out easy, make that great first pass. And he's done that. And, I've been impressed with him since the playoffs started. So my Wildcat of the Week, presented by Rosemary Lynn Massage, is number 27, Connor Olson. Well, that will do it for me. That's a lot of talking by myself. It was good to go back retro style on my own. I won't lie. I'm not a fan of it anymore. I miss my buddy, Jeremy. I miss staring into his beautiful eyes, but I did enjoy my time with you guys. This one-on however many of you are watching / listening connection. I do appreciate you guys joining us each and every week. It's playoff time, and there's 2 home games left. Minimum. Actually, I got to say maximum. Because even if Moncton somehow gets past this thing, I think everything's going over to the island, and it's 5 games there. If it gets there, it's there. They're not going to be traveling back and forth. So even if Moncton gets on this thing, these will be the last 2 times you'll get to see this team play. These will be the last 2 times you get to see Jacob Hudson, Tristan DeYoung, Dakota Lund Cornish suit up in a Wildcats uniform. So at home. So if you haven't got your tickets, I implore you, go on Ticketmaster, get them. If you've seen Jacob Hudson for the past 4 years, if you've watched Tristan DeYoung play for the past 3 years, come out one of these last 2 games and support them, because this is it. It'll be a very weird year not to see number 5, not to see number 92, especially number 92 in the lineup. So get your tickets for that one. Tonight's game 4 versus Bathurst. Use your ticket January 22nd. And again, we're in St. John for game 5 and back at the Avenir Center. It was 2 p.m. Note the time change. 7 p.m. on Sunday, May 2nd. A little bit of a... I'm not a fan of it. I won't lie. But, 7 p.m. Sunday, May 2nd. Use your ticket January 29th. Again, thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading the show where you download the show. Thanks for joining us on YouTube. Please subscribe and like it. That's it again for me. Hopefully Boucher will be back to recap what is going to be a crazy end of this round robin. And when that guy's in the chair next week, you know what's going to be?
Guess what? It's gonna be me.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Wildcast podcast. Follow us on social media at Moncton Wildcast.